Marshmallow fondant is so much better than regular fondant, and I'm going to teach you how to make it. The benefits to marshmallow fondant are it's really cheap and really easy to make, and the number one awesome reason is because kids love it. Most people don't like fondant for any reason, they just use it because sometimes it can look pretty, but trust me, marshmallow fondant is the bomb and a huge crowd pleaser, especially with kids because it's super sweet. So the first thing to know, you want to get a bag of your mallows, and I actually prefer the off-brand. I get the Walmart brand of mallows because it's actually tastes a little tiny bit less sweet than jet puffed, and I like that in fondant because fondant is already super sweet. It's basically super concentrated marshmallows, so I like to get the off-brand. Another thing to keep in mind is to get the mini mallows over the big mallows. Now you can use big mallows just fine, but it's harder to melt them evenly, and you want to get everything melted evenly, otherwise some parts of it are going to be like a tire and some parts of it are going to be undercooked. So that's why I use mini mallows. It makes things much easier. And the recipe calls for 16 ounces, and normally they come in bags of 10 ounces, so I have to guess, but they just came out with the value size bag of mallows, and it's 16 ounces, so that makes it super easy. So we're gonna throw this in the bowl and start getting it to melt. We're gonna take our bag of mallows, the whole bag, and put it in your bowl. We're gonna mix in 3 tablespoons of water and 1/2 cup of shortening. I warmed this up in the microwave just to make it a little bit softer, and a lot of times it asks you to put in the unwarmed shortening later, but don't do that, because if you put it in with the marshmallows when you melt them, then the shortening creates a non-stick surface for the bowl, and the marshmallows all come pouring out when it's time to put them in the mixing bowl. Otherwise your marshmallows are going to stick to the bowl, and you're going to actually lose a lot of marshmallows in the process. So now everything's in the bowl, everything except the powdered sugar. We're gonna microwave it, and this is gonna depend on your microwave, depending on how powerful it is. You don't want to fry your marshmallows. So you want to cook them for about 20 to 30 seconds at a time, especially at the beginning, and then shorter increments as you go along. Just to test it, you want to get the marshmallows to a point where it's mostly melted, but you still see a few little balls in there, and just keep mixing at the end until everything's melted. You don't want to over melt them, otherwise your fondant is going to end up like a car tire, and believe me, that is not very moldable or stretchable to go over your cake. So I'm going to go ahead and throw mine in the microwave. We'll get this melted. Our marshmallows are melted, and I hope you can see, but there are still a few little balls in there. It's mostly melted, but there's still a couple balls. And that's good, because we're gonna mix it a little bit more, and then it's gonna melt all the way, and it'll be just fine. So it's a good sign that it's not overcooked. And because I put the shortening in there in the beginning, you see the bowl? It's super non-stick, and marshmallows are usually super sticky, and we would have lost a ton of marshmallows totally stuck to that bowl, but the shortening keeps it from sticking. It's awesome. All right, so this is gonna make it easy to now pour into my mixing bowl. Now we're gonna add our powdered sugar, and the recipe calls for 2 pounds, and guess how much is in the bag? 2 pounds. It's perfect. Oftentimes there'll be little balls in the powdered sugar, and depending on how old it is, and I don't know, just sometimes these bags are full of balls, so you want to make sure that it's as ball free as possible. So I'm going to use this sifter, and we're going to sift those out as we pour. I'm not going to pour all the powdered sugar in, because number one, it's going to spray powdered sugar everywhere, and number two, you're going to want or need a little bit at the end to knead into it on the table. So we're going to shake it in. When you're ready for more sugar, pop it up, and I like to take this off so it's out of the way. There we go. And we'll add the rest of our sugar. Toss the remaining little sugar balls into the sink, because you won't need those or want them in your fondant. Most of my powdered sugar is in, and I only have a little bit left. And this is balled up pretty good, it's pretty stiff. So I'm gonna take it out, throw it on the counter, and this is about the time when my wedding ring has to come off so I don't ruin it. And we'll get kneading. I'm gonna lay some powdered sugar down where we're gonna roll. Now, fondant actually lasts a long time on the shelf. It's really, really nice. So when you're making figurines, cake toppers, and all that, you can do that well ahead of time. So you're not doing it at the last minute trying to get the cake ready and it's due. So you can get that done way. And those are always the most stressful things, the hardest parts of the cake. It's nice to get those done early. So fondant on the shelf can last quite a while. If you seal it, the excess or anything, in an airtight container, it'll last a good 2 months outside the fridge. So they say not to refrigerate fondant, but I have refrigerated it many times and have had great success with it. So I wouldn't say that refrigerating it is out of the option, but you can definitely store it on the shelf in an airtight container. And of course, once you make your figurines, you've got to leave it on the shelf for at least a little while, or at least a couple days or so, to let it harden. If you're doing figurines, then you don't need to use powdered sugar to work with it. I would suggest using cornstarch, because powdered sugar, at any sign of moisture, like on your palms, it gets all gummy and sticky, and it makes it impossible to work with the fondant. So I would suggest using cornstarch, because that keeps it dry and fresh, and it keeps your hands dry and fresh, and it's easier to work with. But for now, we don't want to fill this fondant full of cornstarch, so we are kneading in the rest of the sugar. And this is just like good old-fashioned bread dough. Just roll it like you would bread dough. And it's so warm and soft. I love fresh fondant because it's so warm and soft. One of the huge benefits to making fondant is it's so easy to manipulate when it's warm and fresh. It's so easy to spread out, roll out, mold. It's so easy to stretch over your cake. I have heard a lot of things about store-bought fondant and how hard it is to roll out and stretch. And I've never actually purchased it myself, but I have definitely checked it out in the store. And it is, it doesn't look like any fun, and it looks very challenging. So making your homemade fondant is definitely the best option. And it's all way cheaper. It is so much cheaper, and it really doesn't take up much time. This fondant is looking perfect. It's really nice. It's thick. It's not sticky. That's one thing. If it sticks, then it's definitely not done, and you need more sugar, because it's really going to be a problem once you roll it out nice and thin to cover your cake in. You don't want it to be sticky. All right, I'm going to show you how to put this over a cake, and we'll be done. I've brought our cake out of the fridge and it's ready to go, but I'm using some leftover buttercream because this is really hard, and when buttercream is really hard, then it's not sticky anymore. So I need to put on a fresh coat of buttercream to make the fondant stick to it. Try to make it as perfectly flat as you can. That way you don't have any imperfections in the cake. If you get an air bubble when you put your fondant on, which almost always happens to me, just take a little sewing pin and poke it and then press the air out and you'll be good to go. And then at the bottom, press it in nice and close, and then we're going to cut it off with this fondant cutter. Of course, you can use any pizza cutter and you should be just fine. Just be careful that this edge isn't digging into your cake when you're turning it around. We've covered our cake in our fondant, and I always like doing that on a different tray. And then once it's covered in fondant, then moving it to the cake stand. This is going to be my cake stand for the day. And one really important thing, now that this cake has the weight of the fondant on, and now that it's cooling or warming to room temperature because it was in the fridge, that means the cake is going to settle, which means air needs to escape. So if you've ever made a cake and it gets these big bubbles on the side and you're like, I don't know what to do, that is the air trying to escape. So what you want to do is you want to take a straw and poke a hole in your cake. And make sure you do it as soon as possible before the bubbles start forming. And there you go. And I also do this on the top tier of the cake as well. You just cover it up in a cake topper or whatever beautiful decoration that you have. But make sure you put the hole in it and do it as soon as possible so you don't get those big old bubbles, because they will drive you crazy. Another tip, if you are doing tiers, make sure that you have a support system, because the cake is heavy. I don't think not a lot of people, especially me when I was first starting out, they don't realize how heavy cake is. So you want to structure so that the top tier, especially if you have more than 2 tiers, oh my goodness, but if you have another tier, make sure that you have a structure. I cut out some cardboard. I covered it in saran wrap. Sometimes I use tin foil, and I will make sure that it is small enough to be concealed by the top tier. I take my straws. Straws are a great form of support. Just poke it on down like so and trim it off at the top. Try to go in as straight as you can. If you're going for more than 2 tiers, especially if it's 4 or more, I would not suggest using straws. I would suggest using a professional system. I have a steel professional cake stacking system that is pretty awesome. All right, and then once the straws are in, just place, I actually like to put this on the bottom of the next tier before the fondant goes on. That way the fondant can cover this as well. But anyway, this is where it goes, and I do like to add a little bit of buttercream just to make it a bit sticky, and stick it on there. There we go. Alrighty. Then just put your next tier on and you're good. Keep in mind, this is fondant. Do not put fondant in the fridge once it's on your cake, because it will cling to any condensation in the room if it's cooler than the room. So anytime you take fondant out of the fridge, it will cling to all that condensation and make it look all sweaty and wet. It's really not aesthetically pleasing. So make sure that once you have fondant on your cake, it stays outside of the fridge. I like to keep mine up on a cabinet, safe from any of the kiddos that are around in the house, and safe and clean. So there you go. There's marshmallow fondant for you. I hope you have success. It is a really great recipe. It's really quite foolproof, but if you have problems, please ask in the comments. I would love to help out. And I'm excited to see what you create. It's delectably delicious, extremely sweet. So please give it a try and subscribe to my channel. I would love to show more amazing nifty tricks with you that I've learned over the years. I'm excited to see the cakes that you make, and I will see you in the next video.